In today's arraignment of former President Donald Trump, one of the more interesting back and forths between both sides, attorneys for both sides and the judge, was about whether or not the judge might ever impose what's called a gag order, essentially restrictions on the speech of anybody involved in the case in the ways they talk about it. The judge said in the arraignment today, although I'm not going to issue a gag order and not something close to a gag order, meaning right now, I would encourage counsel on both sides to please speak to your witnesses. Defense counsel, speak to your client and anybody else you need to, and remind them to please refrain from making statements that are likely to incite violence or civil unrest. Please do not engage in words or conduct which jeopardizes the rule of law, particularly as it applies to these proceedings in this courtroom. Again, and then he reiterates, I ask you to please discuss that with your client. Tonight, Donald Trump just finished remarks at his home in Florida in which he called the prosecutor investigating him in Georgia, Fani Willis, a racist. He called her a racist DA. He called Alvin Bragg, the prosecutor who has brought these charges against him in New York today, quote, a criminal. And he called Jack Smith, the special counsel who's investigating at the federal level, a, quote, lunatic bomb thrower. Judge today going out of his way to say, I'm not putting a gag order in place here. Of course, I don't believe I'll have to. We'll all be able to be constrained here. Tonight, calling the prosecutors an animal, a racist, and a lunatic bomb thrower. I don't know where that is going to end.
Yeah, I mean, the question, I guess, is what does it take to get a gag order? I remember Roger Stone making threatening noises at a judge and not getting sanctioned, really. And so I think Donald Trump has lived in a universe where his peeps have gotten away with it. That would be my question, is sort of what will it take?
Well, there was a gag order in the Roger Stone case, but that was a federal trial. And I was surprised to learn this. Catherine Christian was one of the people who sort of disabused me of my previous notions about this. But apparently, in New York criminal cases, it's very hard to get a gag order.
Interesting.
More so than in federal cases, where there have been, like, for example, when Stone had threatened that judge. So in this case, the judge is already warning, literally day one of the arraignment, warning that is very concerning language that's been out there. We saw the president and a member of his family today posting a photo of the judge's daughter. I mean, it's already very ugly. Not good. And so for him to get out there tonight, all guns blazing, proverbially speaking, it seems like that's going downhill fast.
Yeah, and Rachel, arraignments are usually under 10 minutes. One of the reasons this took so long was they had to put time in to deal with Donald Trump's threats. As you mentioned, the judge said all that. The judge said, look, I'm making this as a request. If I'm handed anything like this in the future, I'll have to take a closer look. Gag order, very hard, especially for all the First Amendment reasons. But you can be held in contempt of court. Another smaller item that Trump's lawyers lost today, they asked for him to not have to attend the next hearing. And the judge said, no. You have to come. And again, if you don't come in New York, they issue a bench warrant and people with guns from NYPD come get you. And that's why he had to be there today. He pretended that he's making his big trip, but this is all under compelled supervision of the court. And so I do think Trump will continue to test this. Georgia, there isn't an open case against him, so it's a little different. But in New York, if he goes too far, and I'm sure his lawyers have warned him this, there are proceedings. You could be held in prison for a day or longer.